Okay, so I started this vlog once in the parking lot of the ENT's office and once in the parking lot of Chick-fil-A, but I couldn't continue either of them because I started to feel too ill. But now I've had some food, and it's made me feel just a little bit better, so now I can start this vlog proper. And I will start by saying, I have vertigo. Vertigo. Hello everyone, and welcome to Thursday. Had a wonderful breakfast stream. Got up, did the stream, went well. And then, as I talked about yesterday, I had a doctor's appointment for an ENT, ear, nose, throat specialist, which is better because they're specialists and they can better tell me what's going on with this ear infection that I definitely have. This ear infection, which is definitely the cause of the dizziness that I've experienced for 10 days straight. Go to the ENT. She starts asking me all these questions about my dizziness. And what's interesting is she's very thorough. I mean, just a really, really great doctor. Asked me all these questions about dizziness, and I'm like, she hasn't even looked in my ear yet. And finally, she looks in my ear, and she says, I don't know if your ear was ever infected. She said, yeah, it's red. You know, there's some stuff in there that maybe some bacteria got in. She said, I don't even know if it was ever fully infected. And I was like, well, then what's going on? She said, you have vertigo. And I was like, that's a thing? Because, like, vertigo is always, like, from my understanding of it, I've never had vertigo. Vertigo is, like, a thing that you say if you feel dizzy. You know, like, oh, I looked over the edge of this building and I experienced vertigo. It's an experience. It's a thing that happens. It's a symptom. It's not. I mean, it is. But it's like a thing that can happen to you is you have vertigo. And apparently I have vertigo. And it's not like, oh, you feel dizzy. It's, no, there's something wrong. And that's why you keep experiencing this. And I also did a hearing test. I've never had a hearing test done before, but they said my hearing was fine. You know, she said I have vertigo and that there's a chance even that the ear infection or infection is like coincidental. It just happened to happen, you know, at the exact same time that I was experiencing, you know, this vertigo. And she said it could be related. There's been times where bacteria has affected like the nerves in the brain, which is kind of what something to do with like why you have vertigo in the first place. So she said it's possible that that's, you know, some relation. She said, but it could also be completely coincidental. And I'm like, well, that's dumb. It's very dumb. But they wanted to induce it, and they had laid me back, and she was like, how dizzy are you? I'm like, oh my God, the world is spinning around. And she said, okay. So they brought me back up. Everything was still really awful. And then another nurse came in, and they laid my head back in like, they basically grabbed my head, laid me back in a very specific manner. They're like, just go limp, we're going to move your head around, and you tell us what you feel. So they moved it in a certain way, and I'm like, no, I'm not dizzy. Everything's fine. And then they moved it in a certain way, and I was like, oh my God, there it starts. And they did this exercise with me where I just basically went limp, and they moved my head around, and they had me roll over on a side, and they moved my head in a certain way to basically try and undo the vertigo. Because the way I feel is that I'm a constant, for the past 10 days, I've had constant feeling of like lightheadedness. My head feels like it's 100 pounds, and I feel like kind of like a mild headache. And then the minute I start to move my head is when the world just is like, and they moved my head in such a way that they're hoping to kind of undo some of that vertigo stuff. Then they said I need to keep my head up for the next 48 hours, which means I cannot look down, I cannot look up, I cannot lay my head back for bed. I need to sleep with my head up. Like, I can't feed the cats because I can't like bend down and look down and, you know, get their food. I need to keep my head straight for 48 hours. And they said that'll be the start of this, you know, of trying to fix you. And then after that, I have to do daily exercises where I like trigger it or something. There's something that they have asked me to do.
Yeah, you're supposed to like sit up and turn your head and then like lay back And then
there's certain
the way
exercises that we have to,
Yeah.
that I have to do
Oh,
to
I
try
might
and
help you so you don't fall.
yeah. Anyway, so I said, all right, so what, like, is there medicine? And she said, no, you just have to get over this. And I was like, well, how long does it take? She said, normally a few weeks to a few months. And I'm like, are you serious? And she said, yeah. She said, now, in your case, she said, I think you'll probably get over it sooner. It'll probably only be a few weeks. She said, I want to see you back in 3 weeks. And I'm like, okay. You know, and I thanked her. She did a great job of explaining stuff. And, you know, it's wild to me that there's possibly no correlation between the ear and the vertigo.
There can be, but it was
there can be.
You had a different ear.
Yeah, that was the thing. I have vertigo in my left ear, but the ear infection was in my right ear, so that's why there could be like no correlation whatsoever. Anyway, I'm gonna take it easy for the next 2 days. You know, I'm not supposed to move my head up and down. I'm not supposed to move my head quickly, like any direction. I just have to be very gentle with myself. And then once I start doing these exercises, hopefully within the next few weeks, this will all go away. Does that suck? Yeah! Yeah, it sucks. Because I've already been dealing with it for 10 days. And, like, it's one of those things, like, it's fine, but obviously I don't feel in any way, shape, or form normal. But it's just something I'm going to have to deal with. They said to keep taking my antibiotics, so whatever potential bacteria or whatever I had in my ear will get cleared up. But they said even right now it doesn't even look that bad, so neat, very neat. But yeah, we stopped for food. Once I started eating some food, I felt a little better. I think when I left the office, I was so sick, but from like rolling me around, like I was just so nauseous. But putting some food in my stomach did help a little bit. So yeah, I'm glad I finally have these answers. You know, and to find out that because I was just convinced, you know, I had an ear infection. It was playing with my inner ear stuff, but the ear infection must not be gone because, you know, I still feel dizzy. And, you know, from the beginning, she knew that wasn't it because she kept asking me all these questions about the dizziness. And yeah, vertigo. Neat. You learn something every day because you know, again, I didn't know that was like a thing. Thought it was just something people said when they stood on top of tall buildings. But anyway. Guess I'll try and relax today. Oh, and because I'm sure someone will be curious to know this information, I very specifically have paroxysmal, I think that's how you pronounce that, paroxysmal positional vertigo. And the maneuver they did on me was called the what maneuver?
Epley?
Epley, E-P-L-E-Y?
Yeah.
Epley maneuver. So anyone who either has experienced the same thing and had similar stuff done, or you're like a medical student and you're curious, those are the specific names. And it's from, and I know it sounds weird to use the word crystal because it sounds like I'm some sort of hippie that's going to dangle a crystal in front of myself, but no, it's because you have crystals in your inner ear that get loose and jangle around or something.
Yeah. There's real words that I don't know what they are.
I don't know the real words either.
Displaced otoliths. Otoliths?
Anyway, that's what's wrong with me. Transition. Whoosh. It's now the end of the day. It's been several hours, and I gotta say, that's what I have to say. The past 10 days have been rough, certainly. Living with this, you know, this dizzy feeling and everything has been really hard. But after the doctor did that Epley maneuver today to, you know, jostle my crystals back into place or whatever it was, honest to God, like I have felt 10 times more sick today than I have any of the other days. And that's been really hard. Like, the past 10 days have sucked, but I have still been okay. I've still worked. I've still done stuff. Today was bad. And she told me it was going to be bad. Like, whenever I was at the ENT earlier, like, she was going to do this maneuver, and she said, well, I want to test your hearing first. She said, I need to do that first because the thing I'm going to do to you is going to make you terribly sick. And I'm like, okay. So then I did the hearing test, then she did the maneuver, and sure enough, I've, you know, ever since then I have felt really, really awful, and I kept expecting it to kind of like wear off, and it didn't. So this is just kind of my existence, at least for like the next 48 hours. And yeah, I have felt astoundingly bad. I've still got stuff done. It's just the entire time I'm like, oh Lord, everything is really bad. And then also I have to keep my head up, and that's actually far more difficult than you would think, because there's so many day-to-day actions that are just they're just habits, and you don't think about them. And then all of a sudden you start moving your head too fast, and you're like, oh crap, I can't do this. So I can't move my head up and down at all. And if I move my head from side to side, I have to do it very slowly. And I'm supposed to basically treat myself as if I have a head injury, because I essentially do. Everything about it is not great. It's not great at all. But you know what is great? Having a Kit Kat. And hopefully seeing the joy in life through the eyes of a Kit Kat.
Today's is raspberry.
Oh my God, really?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's gonna be good.
Uh-huh.
I need something good on a day like today. I'm not gonna lie.
You don't want a bad one on today?
No, because I just want something to lift my spirits. And raspberry sounds awesome. It's a tiny little thing.
Yeah, it was one of the fruit ones.
It doesn't have much of a smell.
Mmm.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's a good one.
Did we have another raspberry one?
We might have. We had one before when we made Thomas try them.
No, I mean,
there was a
like,
raspberry one in there.
In the was the pistachio one also raspberry?
Oh yeah, it was pistachio raspberry.
Because it tastes like that.
Mm-hmm. Not as good as the pistachio raspberry. I thought that was better than this one.
It's still really good. It's very tangy. Like, the outside doesn't have a scent, and when you start biting into it, you don't really notice it. And then when you get to the stuff in between the wafers, it's real tangy, and it's really good. That was a nice little ray of sunshine at the end of my day. Now, I've got to figure out how I'm going to sleep, because I have to sleep sitting up, basically.
I figured we'd just take a bunch of, like, these pillows.
I'm thrilled. I know it has to be done. It just... Today has been a wild roller coaster of a day that I didn't quite expect, and I'm still adjusting. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, let's be back tomorrow, shall we? Hi, buddy. Nice to have you here.